Welcome to the next episode of the CAPB podcast. Today we are delighted to welcome serving corporal in the RAF regiment, Shanwayne Stephens. Welcome, Shanwayne.
How you doing?
You're good, mate. Good,
Yeah.
good. Cannot wait to hear your story. You have represented Jamaica in the Olympics, and
Yeah,
that is something phenomenal from someone who's serving, mate.
yeah, it is. Like honestly, sometimes I can't believe it myself.
It's just I can't wait to hear the story, mate. I can't wait to hear that journey through sport. You know, lots of people in the military have the opportunity to play sport and play sport at a good level, and are introduced to sports that maybe you usually wouldn't be introduced to. You know, so you being the pilot for the Jamaica bobsleigh team and racing in the 2022 Beijing Olympics is something I cannot wait to hear about. But before we get to that, you've served for 15 years in the RAF regiment
I
so
have.
far. 15 long
I
years.
know. And you know what? It doesn't actually feel that long. Like I've sat and look back at it and thinking, where has 15 years gone? Like because you do so much in your career and you move around and you do different things and yeah, like the years just fly by.
Mate, tell me about it, mate. As I say, we're out now. Paul, who just makes special mention, Paul has not made it today. He's got his priorities all wrong, to be honest, and he's in London with his wife. So we'll be talking to him separately and getting HR involved. But yeah, we've served between us over 35 years, and it is mad to think that. It's mad to think that all those things. And when you look back at the memories and the cool things that you did, you're thinking, how was that in the year 2001? Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But we're really old. You are not that old. But you have served 15 years. So what does that look like as a highlight reel? What are some of the highlights that you've done militarily in that last 15 years, Sean?
Uh, like I said, I've done so much, and just so much just random stuff in my whole career. Like when I was on the King's School Squadron, we used to do like the international tattoos. So I did Canada, I've done Switzerland, I've done Virginia. Like so, we've done a lot of traveling, performing in front of 10,000, 15,000 people crowds, stuff like that. What else have I done? Passing my sniper course, that was a big one for me. That was a renowned to be a very difficult course to pass. The pass rate is very low, so on my course there was 20 people on the course, only 2 of us passed, and I was one of them. Right,
Jesus.
yeah, so passing that first time was one of the big achievements for me in my career, and then just yeah, getting into getting into bobsleigh really was another one because without getting it into the sport within the Air Force, I probably never would have gone international. So, getting that foot in the door within the Air Force, that was definitely a highlight.
I think it's one of the things being in the King's, what was the Queen's Colour Squadron and now the King's Colour Squadron. I think
Yep.
it's a really good point you brought up there about the sniper course because when the layman or whatever sees whether it's the army and the guards or whether it's as I say the King's Colour Squadron, it's not just a ceremonial role. That's just like a small part of it. You're very much still a fighting unit.
Yeah,
Do you know
yeah,
what I
we
mean?
are.
I think that's one of the things that people don't get. I don't think.
Yeah, so obviously they're called King's School Squadron, but they also it's a dual role squadron. So they're also 63 Squadron RF Regiment as well, which, like you said, is fully deployable and capable squadron. So currently they're undertaking the counter UAS role. So obviously there's been a lot of stuff about that in the news in the last couple of years. So between 63 and 34 Squadron up in Yorkshire, they are now the force lead within the counter UAS scene. So yeah, they're fully capable. It's normally split into 2 seasons. So they have a greens phase and a blues phase, which is like obviously the ceremonial side. So in the summer, they predominantly do a lot of the ceremonial stuff. And then in the winter, they do all their greens training. So they're fully ready to deploy wherever around the world.
I think that's class, mate. I think that's class. You touched on it there, like getting into bobsleigh. But were there any other sports you were doing? How important is sport for you in your military career?
So even as a kid, so I played a bit of football. So I used to play right back when I was younger. And then I did a bit of athletics. I used to do 100, 200 and a bit of discus. And then when I was in a RAF, I played a little bit of rugby, more station level more than anything. And then that's when I sort of got into the bobsleighing. So I've always been sort of like done more speed, power based sports, which again, bobsleigh leads perfectly into that path as well.
And was there what was it? Was it one of those was it adventure training that you had to dip in, or was there like a call for athletes to give it a go?
Yeah, pretty much. So there was a literally I was going through the building at work, there was a poster on the wall on a post-it note, and literally just says, "Our bobsleigh team fancy having a go at the sport. Email this email address." And that's literally how it started. So I was like, gave them an email saying, "Yeah, fancy having a go." They sent me the dates for the trials. So the trials was in Bath University, which is the same place we do it every year now. So we still go down to Bath because Bath University is the home of GB bobsleigh. So
Okay.
there's like a test, so like push ramp down at Bath. So we can, and you put timing gates in it so you can see how fast you can basically push the sled down the hill. And that's one of the key things that we test for when you do the trial. So you go down, you do 30-meter sprint, you do standing board jump, and then we bring you over to the push ramp, and then you do like a push on the push ramp. So I went down, did that, and they were like, "Okay, sweet, pretty quick. Do you fancy coming out to an inter-service competition?" So normally what happens is you'll go from the trials to a novice camp, and then whoever does well in a novice camp, you get invited to the inter-service competition. I skipped the novice camp stage and went straight to an inter-service competition, and then went out to La Plagne in France, and this was 2015. So the first time I ever seen a bobsleigh track, anything like that was 2015. Had a go at it, and I was like, I actually really enjoy this. And at the time, within the team, there were Johnny, Keith, Bainesy. So all three of the brakemen were on the GB circuit at the time. So they all came back from the GB circuit to race in the interurban competition. And normally in a race, 4 sleds will race, but only 3 to count. So there was literally, out of everybody that went to that inter-service competition, all the athletes, there was really only 1 spot available to compete with these other GB guys. And I was the person
Yeah,
who got
yeah.
that 1 spot.
And you got it.
And I got that 1 spot.
And is this four? This is four, isn't it? Four athletes in one bob.
So within the Air Force, we only race 2 man.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so we only race 2 man in the Air Force because you need a lot more experience to drive a 4-man sled. So the sleds drive totally different when you drive them. So 2-man sled is more like a sports car. It's a lot more agile and it's a bit lighter. And if you get it into trouble, sometimes you can save it, right? In a 4-man sled, it's more like a lorry. It's heavy, and it does go where you want it to go. But when you get it wrong, you get it really wrong, and the chances of you correcting it when it goes wrong is very slim. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
tend to just stick to driving 2-man in the Air Force, and we just don't have the experience of people to drive the 4-man within the Air Force because the attrition rate is quite high. So like you'll get people to come for 1 season and they never come back. Right? There's only like a handful of people who tend to come back year in year out, like myself and a couple of others, and so we're constantly training new people every time. This is why we hold a novice camp every year, and then we'll then pick people from there to then go and do the inter-service competitions.
How did it feel that first time, the first run, like the very first
The
time you
first
like?
one, honestly, I was excited. I'm a bit of a speed freak anyway. So
Okay.
like anything that goes fast, go karting, motorcycles, like anything that goes fast, I'm in. Like my hands going up. So I was quite excited, and obviously I didn't really know what to expect. Like you see the thing on TV, and then you walk the track and you see a couple of sleds go down. And you're like, oh, that looks quick and that looks cool. But yeah, I was excited. And then I went down and I was just like, all right, okay, this feels all right. And then you hit some of the G forces as you go through the corners and you're like, oh my God. And you get to the bottom and you're like, what was that? Like, you didn't really know what to expect. But then you get back to the top and you're like, oh, I want to go again. But it is one of those sports where after your first run, you'll know instantly if you like it or hate it.
Yeah, yeah.
Instantly. And I've done the sport now for 12 years, and you can tell straight away as soon as somebody comes back up whether you like they'll either be buzzing or they'll look like they've seen a ghost.
Oh, so from there, so this is Inter-Services 2015,
Yep.
RAF two-man Bob. Did you win the Inter-Services?
That year in 2015, we didn't.
Okay.
And then we've won a couple since that point. Like I said, I've been doing it now 12 years, so
Yeah.
it's hard to remember all of them. But the Air Force normally tends to do really well. So it's either the Air Force or the Army would win. And I think in my whole time of doing it, I think the Navy's maybe won it maybe twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you were like, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
this is
straight
it.
away I was just like, yeah, I can do this. Like I'm pretty good at this. And then when I first started the sport as well, so obviously it's a gravity sport, so weight plays a big factor into it. So when I first started the sport, I was 74 kilos. I was
Right.
74 kilos. So I was for the sport, I was really really light. And then by the time I got to the Olympic Games, I was 93 kilos.
Mate, 20 kilos difference, mad, isn't it?
Yeah, and that was literally just training, just weight, eating, and I still could have been bigger as well. Really, I was trying to hit the 98 to 100 kilo mark, but yeah, I'm only 5'6", so
Yeah. That's got to be a challenge, though, isn't it? To put that weight on, to put that muscle
yeah,
on, but maintain the pure pace.
yeah,
Because pace is so important.
100%. So at 93 kilos, right, just before the games, I was doing 30 meters in 3.74 seconds.
Mate, that's hideous.
Yeah,
Absolutely hideous. But I
for
mean,
for that
let's
size, that was pretty quick.
yeah. Let's just fill in some gaps a bit here.
Yeah, yeah.
Talk to me. Tell us how you go from Inter-Services, RAF, two-man Bob. This is great fun. New to a sport, to being an international athlete. Not only an international athlete, but then the Olympic Games. How did that huge trajectory into being at the highest elite level? What did that look like?
Yeah, so let's start from the beginning. So obviously it started in 2015. So went back a couple of, and then kept going back every year. And then around 2017, I was just sat in my room and I looked on Instagram. I was like, I wonder if Jamaica's got like an Instagram page. And I found the Instagram page. And I was just like, oh yeah, they do. So I sent them a message, literally just a DM. I was like, look, I've been doing this sport now for about 2 years. I'm in the Royal Air Force and stuff like that. If you ever need any athletes, just let me know and I'll see what I can do. Then they replied, like, hey, Shan, love to hear from you, blah, 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 blah. We'd love to invite you out to Calgary for some trials. And I was just like, oh, okay, this is cool. So I sent that message to the team manager for the Air Force and say, look, I've received this message. What do you think about it? And they go, okay, leave it with us. They went and spoke to director of sport for the Air Force, and then I sent it then to work, and work's like, okay, let's see what we can do. So eventually, both parties came together and said, all right, you can go to this trials. I paid my own ticket to go out there. I thought, you know what, why not? I'm never going to get this opportunity again, so let's give it a go. So I paid for my own ticket to get out there. Got to Calgary and then did the trials and stuff, and they were like, yeah, we'd love for you to stay on with the team. So I was only supposed to be in Calgary for 2 weeks, right? By the time I'd done the trials and stuff, they were like, mate, we'd love for you to stay for the rest of the season. I ended up spending 2 months going around North America, racing on the circuit with the team. And then I came back. But then at the time, right, I didn't even realize when I went out there that that was the qualification year for Pyeongchang Olympics, so the 2018 Olympics. So I was going around with the team trying to help them qualify for Pyeongchang Olympics, and we literally missed out qualification by one spot in 2018, right? So then that's when so I then came back after that season, and then the guy that was originally driving for the team, he then left the team and said he didn't want to do it anymore. So then I then jumped in the driving seat for 2018. So that's when I started my Olympic sort of like journey really for myself, if that makes sense. So as a pilot, you're sort of like the driving factor, everything goes around you, right? So when you're racing, it's your name that gets called out, it's your sled, everything. The brakemen, unfortunately, it's a weird sport where the brakemen kind of like, they don't really get recognized much, even though they're so important to the sport. They don't really get recognized that much. Even when it comes up on TV and it's just like my name because I'm just the pilot that's driving it. Then very rarely, it's only in the last couple of years they've started putting like the driver and brakeman name next to it.
Yeah.
But usually it's just all about the driver. So, but all the responsibilities in the sport comes from the driver. So if you need funding, the driver needs to source the funding. Like it's just how the sport works.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's 2018 was the start of my sort of like Olympic. I want to get to the Olympic Games for myself, sort of situation. And then when we came back to the UK, I then had to again go through the process of applying for what's called the Elite Athlete Scheme. So within the Air Force, there's two different schemes. There's high performance athlete and elite athlete. So high performance athletes, they give you up to 60 days extra leave that you can use to go and do your sport events. So a lot of people like power lifters and stuff like that, they'll get that because they're like really short competitions. With like a sort of like bobsleigh, rugby, that sort of stuff, they put you in high performance athlete, elite athlete scheme. So I ended up getting 4 years on the elite athlete scheme. So for 4 years, all I did was train, compete, and travel the world, basically competing. Right, didn't have to step foot in the work or anything like that. That was basically that was your time off, go and qualify for the Olympic Games, and then when you finish the Olympic journey, then you're back into work, sort of thing. So that's basically all I did for the 4 years leading up to that. And then literally, like I said, I literally just trained, competed, traveling all around the world, doing all my races, trying to get my qualification races in, and then eventually we ended up qualifying for the Olympic Games.
It is such a mental thing that as I say, that you just message someone on Instagram.
Yep.
You to shoot your shot and say, hey, I'm pretty good at this. I'm doing it in the RAF.
Here I am.
What are your thoughts? And they've gone, yeah, come out. And also, just to shout out, because, your chain of command at that point, they could have easily said, don't be so ridiculous. Or they could have said, yeah, we're just really sorry, but we can't. Do you know what I mean? But the fact that they were like, do it, the head of the sport was like, do it. And you went from, because first of all, they're saying yes to you going out for 2 weeks.
Yeah. So before I started bobsleighing, I was on I did a lot of shooting. So I did shooting competitions for the Air Force. I did shooting competitions for the regiment. And then I'd go American, Canada, do shooting competitions as well. So I'm a pretty fierce competitor. So they know what I'm like. So when they saw me get this opportunity, they're just like, if anybody's going to pull this off, it's probably going to be him. Like that's just the way I am. Like as soon as I get focused on something, that's it. I'm 100% in. And then there's no left or right for me. I'm just beelining for it. So I think that kind of helped in a way. And whenever I'd go away and do sport or anything like that, I'd come back to work and I'll be straight back on what I needed to do. So they knew if I did go away, they wouldn't have to worry about me falling off the mark or anything like that. They knew that he's pretty switched on. He's going to do what he needs to do. He'll come back to work. He'll get straight back stuck in, sort of thing. So that definitely helps when you're asking people for stuff like that.
And mate, it's mad because you didn't, as I say, you didn't just represent Jamaica on the bobsleigh. Like you said, you were the pilot.
Yeah.
You stepped in and went, I got this. Yeah, I can do it. I got this.
Yeah, pretty much.
Was that because you were a brakeman, I guess, to start with? Was that was it a whole different level of training or like a whole different level of focus to be able to, I don't even know. I think it's like pulleys, isn't it? I remember
so
GB team.
So the, how do I phrase this? The mentality you have to have is totally different as a brakeman to a driver. Completely different. Like I said, as a pilot, all the responsibility is on you, right? So you have a lot of things to think about. I'm up at the crack of dawn, doing track walks, walking the track. So the mental load on a pilot is massive compared to a brakeman. A brakeman, his responsibility is a sled, right? So all he has to think about is getting the sled prepped, make sure my bolts are tight, make sure my runners are polished, and then getting the sled from where it needs to be at the time it needs to be there. That's all he's got to worry about. Right, and then pushing the thing as fast as he can and jumping in and breaking it. Like that is his job. Right. So when the brake, literally, if you ever came to like a circuit, you know the difference between the pilots and the brakemen, because the pilots will be in bed at 9 o'clock and the brakemen will be out party until 2-3 o'clock in the morning. Because all they've got to do is push this thing and jump in it, and and then just break the thing at the end. You know what I mean? Whilst the pilots are like, I need to be focused. I need to be up for early for track walks. Right? I need to speak to this sponsor. I need to do this. I need to do that. Like, there's so much stuff going on in the pilot's head. So yeah, there's a massive difference between the two.
I think, mate, honestly, and it's like the support that Jamaica must have at the Winter Olympics because of the classic film, because it's like everyone's favourite, like second country when it comes to bobsleigh, because it just doesn't. It's almost like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I know.
Do you know what I mean? Jamaica is the most beautiful country with the hottest weather, and it's like you've got people like ripping it up on the ice, like ripping it up in a sled, you know?
Yeah. No, we do get massive support. Even Jamaican, I think the support in the last 2 cycles, so between the one that I did and this recent one, I think the support from Jamaica is increased a lot more. And I think a lot of people are now recognizing that it's quite a fun sport to do, and it's quite a competitive sport as well. And we could do really, really well with the support that we get. When I went through in 2022, like, so the 2-man sled that I drove, that belonged to the Air Force, right? So the Air Force bought that sled for me to use. Luckily, that sled was already in America. So I literally just bought it. They bought it. I picked it up. I used it to do my Olympic cycle, and then shipped it back to the UK when I was coming back. And then the 4-man sled that we used for the games, we borrowed that one from Team Canada, and that was a sled they used in the Vancouver games in 2000.
Jesus.
So it's almost a 20-year-old sled.
22-year-old.
Yeah, it's a 22-year-old sled that I was racing at the Olympics. And this is the stuff that people don't see in the background, right? They just see a sled on TV. But when you compare it to, say, Germany, who rocked up in a brand new 2022 sled that came out of the factory, right? You're never going to compete with that.
Yeah.
You're never going to compete with that. But things are getting better for the team. Like, I've got no regrets about anything that we've done. Like, what we achieved with the equipment that we had was phenomenal. Like, the team I had, the boys, they did an absolutely fantastic job for us to be able to qualify for that games. Right, we outperformed every bit of equipment that we had to qualify for that games. Right, and the team now that went to Italy, that went to Cortina, they were quite fortunate because the Jamaican Association has done a collaboration with the Korean team. So they managed to get like sleds and newer sleds to use from their team as well. The way it works is like the smaller nations, if they link up with a bigger nation, then that they get like a shared funding sort of thing from the IOC. So they managed to team up with Korea. So they're getting a lot more funding, a lot more opportunities now, which is good. And you could tell by the performance, right? So they got a better sled to race with, and they started like winning races in North America. So it just shows you like that when we do get the backing, that we can actually do really, really well in the sport. But it's just trying to get the backing for the sport. And
I think it's crazy to think that, like you said, what your team could have achieved.
Yeah.
Let's say everyone had the same. Let's say every single team were given, this is the sled, how you set it up, how you want, but they're all the same year, all made of the same stuff.
Yeah.
It just makes you think what you and the team could have achieved.
What we could have achieved.
You know what I mean? If everyone's on a level playing field.
But unfortunately, the sport isn't like that. It's no different to Formula One. So the sport is literally nicknamed Formula One on ice.
Yeah.
It is, because it's exactly the same, right? There's always a team with a better sled, which is normally Germany, because they've got a company called FES. It's a government-run organization, and all they do is build their sporting equipment. So if somebody creates a faster sled, what they'll do is buy one of those sleds, they'll do their own R&D on that sled and rebuild a faster sled. So then nobody else really can compete. So 9 times out of 10, if you go to a race, the top 3 are normally Germany.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then everybody else is just fighting for scraps.
Because I imagine Germany's also got probably a better training setup.
Yeah.
I imagine they've got proper runs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So a lot of the tracks are in Germany. Germany's got quite a few tracks.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's mad that that's such a differentiator in sport. You kind of get it, but it's like you just think it's, like the amount of time you physically get on the ice versus what you've gone on to achieve is absolutely phenomenal, Sean.
And it's not a lot of time you actually get to train either. So the year before the year of the Olympics, so we left the UK in October, and then we flew out to Lake Placid in New York. So Lake Placid, New York is a home track for Jamaica. So that's where we go to do all our training. They've got a brand new, fantastic facility there now. It's like an indoor ice house, like a start ramp. So you can basically practice all your starts in there, and then obviously they've got the track, they've got a gym and stuff in there. It's honestly, it's one of the best facilities at the minute. So that's where our home track is. So we went there, and then we spent 2 weeks doing like indoor training. So funny story as well. So when we got to Le Placid in New York in that October, that was the first time all 4 of my guys have ever met each other. And one of my guys, Rolando, had never even seen snow before.
That is mental.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it because you're the driver and you're a leader. You're a natural leader anyway. In the military, you're like my guys, my team. Because you're the driver. I love that, mate.
Yeah. Honestly, it was crazy what we actually achieved. Like I said, I look back at it sometimes and I'm just like, how did we do that? Because we literally went from never meeting each other before. Rolando's never even seen a sled before or even seen ice before. And then he's learning how to run on ice. He's learning all the stuff about bobsleigh. He's learning how to load. A lot of the guys would never done 4-man before together as a team. So literally that first week, the first thing we did was get a 4-man set out and we're doing like dry load. So like just on the ground, just learning how to jump in the thing together. And then we're going like slow time, like taking 2 or 3 steps and getting in. And by the end of it, we were like blasting off the hill, jumping all in. There's videos of people falling off the sled, sliding down the ice on their backs and all sorts. Like, it was a journey. I'll tell you now, it was an absolute journey.
I think it's brilliant, mate. And I think achieving, again, like I repeated a few times, but achieving all that almost against a level of adversity, like you said, a 22-year-old sled, a team where lads hadn't even seen ice before.
And that was the second sled. So the first sled we had was even, like, honestly, it almost feels comical, but it genuinely was what it was. So the first sled we had was even older than that. I think this thing was made in like the 90s. It's like this white sled. And we used it for like 2 races. And then the bottom of the thing fell out. So where the brakeman at the number 4, the guy at the back of the 4-man sled, got to the bottom of the track and his arse was dragging on the ice because the bottom of the sled has fallen out. And then my coach had to drive 8 hours through the night from Vancouver down to Calgary to go and pick up this other sled from Calgary and then drive back to Vancouver for us to race the next day.
It's mad, isn't it, mate? It's absolutely mad.
You could literally write from all the stuff that happened on that season, you could probably write another movie.
Yeah. I mean, the movie, when you watch, because obviously the movie Cool Runnings was, it was a bit of a comedy. It was, it was back when I was a kid, I remember watching it. But you almost think, it can't have been like that. But like some of the stories you're saying are honestly exactly like that.
It was,
you know what I mean?
Sometimes it was almost like we were reliving the movie. That's generally what it felt like sometimes. I was just like, this can't be happening.
Mate, so just with that Olympics, what did that feel like stepping out, like the opening ceremony type thing? That must have been a bit of a pinch me moment to think, I've literally been doing this 7 years and now I'm here with the best in the world.
Yeah. So the first time it really, like I said, it really, really hit, right, was when we did walk out onto that opening ceremony. So if you backtrack ever so slightly, right, going up to that games was COVID. Right?
Of course, yeah.
It was a COVID game. So everybody was just on edge at all times. We were isolating from our families. I remember we actually caught COVID. So we were supposed to do the final race of the season, right, to try and qualify in St. Moritz. So we went to Austria, to Innsbruck, to do a race. We raced there. And then just before we were supposed to go to St. Moritz in Switzerland to do the final race, I caught COVID. And then we got stuck in a hotel for like a week, and we couldn't do the final race of the season, right? So we were literally waiting out to see if anybody else had caught us up on points for us to qualify for the game. So I found out we qualified for the games when I was stuck with COVID in a hotel for a week. That's when I found out that we were going to the games. So then
Stress, mate.
I know, and that's what I mean. Like the stress of it all was pretty harsh. So then we were allowed to leave. So we drove back to the UK, got back to the UK now, and then we had the holding camp down at Bath University. So we were in the we were holding an accommodation down there, isolated from everybody. It was like anybody cannot catch COVID. So if you caught COVID within 2 weeks of flying out to Beijing, you weren't allowed to go. So at this point, it was like, yes, we've qualified for the games, but until we are actually in Beijing and landed, we would I was in my head, I was just like, I cannot like get too excited about this because it's almost like you're just waiting for something to go wrong.
It's gonna fall.
I'm just I don't want to disappoint myself so much. So until I actually the day I actually walked out in the opening ceremony, that's the day I almost kind of like went, I've made it, we're here. All right, let's try and enjoy this now.
Yeah.
But like I said, when we walked out flying the flag and stuff, honestly, man, it was like the best feeling ever. It was a COVID games, right? So there wasn't crazy amount of spectators. But the atmosphere was absolutely fantastic. And like I said, all the athletes were there having a good time. And I remember we walked out and we were like dancing away and stuff. And like, honestly, it was a fantastic feeling.
But it's like things like the Olympics. It's like, the Summer Olympics, Winter Olympics, every 4 years. The world watches the Winter Olympics, mate. The world watches the Summer Olympics. So, although maybe not in the stadium, but I bet somewhere there's some stats about how many people were watching you dancing with that flag.
Yeah, I bet there was. There definitely was a lot of people watching. And obviously, again, from the Air Force, it was getting publicised everywhere as well. So I had after the opening ceremony, I looked at my phone, and the amount of messages I had from people like in the Air Force. Oh mate, I saw you on TV. Oh. Yeah, it was honestly, it was a fantastic feeling.
Mate, honestly, it's what an achievement. What an achievement. People do lots of sport. People are pretty good at lots of sport, but represent your country and represent the Air Force in an Olympic Games that's something that you will have forever, mate. I imagine a tattoo somewhere, right?
Yeah. It's funny because I always said the only tattoo I'll ever get is the Olympic rings. And then obviously I made the game. So yeah, I've got the Olympic rings on my forearm.
I think that's there's a flex. You see people, I do a lot of running, so there's Paul. There's a lot of people when you do these ultra marathons or marathons, you've got like the Iron Man tattoo.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah. But like, yeah, you kind of top trumps it with the Olympic rings. Mate, so what's next for you in the sport world or in the military space? What's next?
Yeah, so unfortunately, like I've enjoyed the sport, so I've sort of stepped away from Olympic sort of or international sliding at the moment. I've got two young ones. So I've got a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. So going away for 7 months of the year around the world while I've got them, it's a little bit more difficult. And don't really want to leave the missus on her own to deal with 2 toddlers. So I sort of stepped back from the international scene, but I still go away with the Air Force every year. We hold sort of two events every year. And I've started sort of transitioning into the coaching role as well, into the sport. So I wanted to pass on the knowledge as well that I've gained over the years, and I also want our team to have a good depth. I didn't want to continuously just keep sliding within the team and not allow other people to get in and get the opportunity. Because like I said, when we do race in the ending services, there's only 4 sleds that race. So if I then take up one of those spots, then it takes away that opportunity for somebody else to progress into the sport as well. So I've started stepping away a little bit more and standing on the sideline coaching. hoping to build our team for the future, because I think it's a fantastic sport, and I think everybody should have the opportunity to give it a go. And if I keep jumping on the sled, then that takes the opportunity from other people.
I think it's two things, isn't it? It's from a coaching point of view, from what you've explained, it's the coaching and mentoring of athletes wanting to physically do it, but also the amount of knowledge you must have learned within like the logistics and that the importance of those external comms to get a sled in the right place. Like you said, as a pilot, there must be so much knowledge you've got to give on to the team in that space, as well as the, you know what I mean, like the athletic coaching part.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like I said, so at the moment now, I'm sort of like one of the key players in organising the events as well. So when we go to like, on average, we go to Lillehammer. So for example, last year we went to Latvia in October, and then we went down to Norway in February. And it's on us to organise the logistics of getting everybody out there and getting everybody back and getting all the equipment there and back as well. So throughout my experience of travelling around the world and doing all these things, I've definitely gained a wealth of knowledge and given the teams like different ideas of how to get to different places and the cheapest way to do it as well. Because that's the big factor at the moment. Like everything's getting more expensive, and even within the Air Force, in terms of the budget for doing sport, our budget is even getting smaller, and we're not getting as far with the money that we have anymore compared to what we used to. So we have to be a little bit more clever in the way we do stuff. And it's kind of one of the reasons why now like I said, you've asked about next chapters. I'm in the next couple of months starting to do my officer training as a logistics officer, because of all the experience and wealth of knowledge I've learned over the last 8 years doing all these things. I thought, well, why waste it? Might as well put it to good use and do something different.
I think honestly, it is a fascinating story, and I always played sport while I was in the army. You know, I played football. I did things like the athletics meets, did cross country running when I was a lot younger, and sport was a really key part of my military career. And when I look back on the highlights, it was things like the football tours. It was the, you know, representing the army and the inter-services. They're the things that really stand out on top of the tours and stuff. And I think you're like a shining example of where the military can support you to achieve stuff in a sport. You know, and I think it's a testament to both you and the RAF.
No, definitely. Like I said, the opportunities are there for everybody within the military, right? And it's down to us to go out there and find it and put ourselves forward to go and do it. Like I said, the military will support you in anything that you want to do, because it shines good on them as well. So when I was out doing sport, it was always, and I was getting announced on the TV, it was always Shanwayne Stephens off the Royal Air Force or off the RAF regiment, right? So it looks good on them as well. Definitely the support you get is fantastic.
But you know, the support's one thing, but I guess the last thing I'll ask you is, what's that one bit of advice you would give to someone who was serving and wanted to succeed in a sport?
Firstly, you got to get up there and actually give it a go. Like, if you don't give it a go, you never know if you're going to be good at it. Like bobsleighing, I never knew I was good at it. I've never seen the sport before, and I just gave it a go. And then, like I said, 8 years later, ended up at an Olympic Games. But it just give anything a go, really. I'm big on try as much as you can once, and then if you don't like it, don't have to try it again.
Mate, I absolutely love that. Shan, thank you so much for giving your time up to come on the podcast. Like a real amazing story of learning a sport and taking it to the very top. And I think what a ride, mate. What a ride.
Yeah. No, thank you very much. I'm hoping we can get some more people. I can coach some people to an Olympic Games as well. That would be a good little challenge for me. I think that might be my next challenge, actually.
That'll be the cherry on the top, wouldn't it?
That'll be my cherry on the top.
Representing and coaching someone, you can say, I did that.
Yeah, nah. I think I'm going to stick that on my vision board. That'll be the next project.
Love that. Thank you so much, mate.
Yeah, no worries at all.